Okay, I'd like to welcome you and tell you that we decided as part of our anti-doping and medical team that discuss something which is very important for us since we are dealing with that on a daily basis. Actually, Professor Marija Andjelkovic is a sport nutrition specialist, and together we are examining a lot of patients, let's say not patients, but athletes. And in the same time, we worked in a great project with our colleagues from 5 European countries about anti-doping. And then there is an interesting part which is necessary for you to understand how to choose the supplements. So practically, we will start with nutrition and supplementation, and then on the second part, after a 10 minutes break, we will continue with that anti-dope program, how to choose the supplements. Of course, we will be available for any of your questions. So I believe that this seminar, this presentation will be useful for you. Plus, we could, we could announce that in Budapest and on Cyprus, we will try to do measurement of bioimpedance, and we will see else what we could, do as well in order to, get additional information which could be useful for you as an athlete in freediving. So I'm welcoming now, and I'm inviting my colleague, Professor Marija Andjelkovic, to start the presentation.
Hello. I will just put. Okay, so hello to everybody. This first part should be like 45 minutes, then little break, and then the second part. So it should be 2 school classes, not so hard to listen. The first part is dedicated to nutrition and supplements. We didn't do the basic things. We just try to focus on free diving for both nutrition and supplements, and to maybe clarify some belief that are already existing in free diving, and try to watch that from the medical point of view or physiological, however you call it. So I just want to introduce, because most of you maybe know me as a doping control officer, but everything that I will speak today is just a teamwork of a huge team, which is led by Nenad, and I'm working every day close with athletes, professional athletes, and giving them advice or giving them a program about sport nutrition and supplementation. I'm a medical doctor. I finished International Olympic course for sport nutrition, and that happens almost 13-15 years ago. And from that point, I'm leading with my colleagues the Center for Sport Nutrition and Supplements. I have my PhD, which I will show you some results in this presentation, again from this field. And I'm a specialist from clinical pharmacology, which help us maybe to closer give you an answer not only about supplement, but also about medication and drugs. Maybe I'm not so active in water sports, but the one that are connected with hiking, walking, maybe running is more closer. But nevertheless, I'm a team doctor in a synchronized swimming team of Serbia. So this is the close connection to apnea and water, and you, of course. So I'm coming with together with Professor Dikic from Sport Medicine Association of Serbia. These are more than 50 books we publish in previous 3 decades. And this is a long history, probably the only one in the region with this kind of activities. We have more than 10-15 congress behind us. So we try to give the people also something to read except to listen. And of course, between these books, you can find a lot of books dedicated also to sport nutrition. But for those who likes to read, there is a bilingual one also, and you can check on our website. Why there is a need to have a lecture about this topic? Because in the world now, like Asker Jekendrup wrote, everyone who eat and drinks thinks they are nutrition expert. Asker is one of the biggest sport nutrition research on the world today. If you want, you can follow him. He has excellent social networks, very simple graphics, which you will show today during my presentation. But I want to show you that maybe free diving is one of the sport, but just in other sports, you are not special. Who has a lot of we say pseudoscience. So there is a lot of belief, urban legends. The people have different experience. They try to transfer to everybody. And then there is a belief that I saw during this work with you, which is a short one, but still it was very intensive, that you have some doubts maybe about nutrition and supplements, and you want to believe in something, and something is really pseudoscience. So there is not science behind that. In the world today, you have the normal coach for your sport, you have the nutrition coach or nutrition trainer. And in big teams, they are part of the team. They are giving the advice, and it's I can say the expectation from them is very high, because at the moment when athletes achieve everything they can with their training, they always rely on nutrition and supplements, and they always expect some kind of miracles. And they sometimes believe in those miracles that will not happen. And I will just try to show you today what is realistic, what you can change, and what will for sure make a small difference to your sport performance regarding the nutrition and supplements. And yes, this is a nice curve that I like always to show. And I always say that I'm in this valley of despair, going to slope of enlightenment, because I'm always learning. And when you are always learning, you always realize how much you don't know. So I guess that only people, each of us should have this kind of intention: read, find the evidence based, and then make a practice in your life. We will try to answer on some basic question in the next 40 minutes. So I will skip. We will go one by one. They are presented here as I can say some of topics that we heard from you, that you want to have more information, or maybe it is found in the papers and we can just tell you what are the results. We are coming from the Serbia, and our most famous and probably the best athlete of all time that we had is, and we having now, is Novak Djokovic. Maybe some things that I saw in free diving and with some other athletes is overlapping with his sentences from his book Serve to Win. He wrote 12 years ago, and in this book he made a big how to say podium to the nutrition, and giving a big achievement, saying that nothing in his life and career helped him as the nutrition did. So it wasn't the coach, it wasn't the technique, it was nothing except a new diet. As somebody who is working on this field, I can say that these words are very strong, but athletes like to believe in this. So it's because it's something that you can change, not so hard, and you expect a lot of the result. And this is what happens in every sport, and this is what happens also in your sport. Sometimes the belief is much more stronger than it happens in real life, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes even the placebo can bring the effect, but we can discuss about that. Why is free diving different than any other sport that I had experience working with athletes with nutrition and supplements? Because you cannot put in endurance sport, you cannot put in the strength sport, you cannot put in the technical, like a team sport, and it's all of that. And beside that, you have the performance that is happening during apnea, and that is something that is really not happening in other sports. Maybe I can say it happening in synchronized swimming, but very short period. And they also need to have a good strength for push out during their performance. But yes, in your sport, you have apnea. So not other sports have this additional requirement. And everything shifts and everything changes in the body of athlete who is free diver comparing to other athletes. This is a nice paper if you want to learn more about your sport. New date. I found some new dated papers. I think they're very nice to read for you if you want to have a more knowledge. But what's the point? In other sports, the other athletes are training breath hold. So you can find so many breath hold training, not for the free diving, but for other sports, because athletes believe that holding the breath and all the things that are happening here, you can in a spleen who is working more, you have the kidney who can release some kind of the hormones, and then you can see that there is maybe my connection is not so good. Okay, just give me a sec. Sorry, maybe the Wi-Fi was is not so good, so I moved. In this slide, you can see that what I want to show you, that there is so many mechanism that is happening in your body during apnea. That is additional thing to the sport performance and everything that you are doing. So this is, you can see the metabolism of the muscles are changing. There is some things that is happening only during apnea, which is giving you something different than other sports who are normally using oxygen during their performance. So you have hypoxia, you have the CO2 who is rising up, you have the respiratory acidosis, you know that, and that is well described. You have the parasympathicus who is producing the hormones, the kidney, the splenic who is working more than they need. You have the constriction of your blood. You have the central nervous system that is going, how to say, up and down. The motor regularity is also changing. And then the question is, what can help from the nutrition and supplements for you to stabilize all of this, and what can help for you to be more calm and during your performance that you can achieve everything you want without the disruption of the body who actually wants to stop. The point with your sport is that physiologically body just wants to start breathing. It wants to start the normal cycles of breathing, but of course voluntary you stop that. Is it true that better nutrition can help to longer breath hold? I must say your sport is not so science evidence-based investigated. There are only few papers, so everything that we are speaking today is coming from our assumption, physiological view that it can help, but just to know, there is I'm just speaking about breath hold diving. There is a papers who are missing. So I'm not speaking about free diving and the normal one that the people are doing, but the one that you are doing here. What is important for you to have a glucose stability, to have a good hydration, to have a good tolerance to CO2, to reduce anything that is gastrointestinal stress for you, and to recover after so many attempts who can be long or can be frequent. So during the previous work with you, there were some things that was going against this. One of the belief that I noticed working with you is that there is a lot of athletes who are not eating or drinking before the competition. I will not say few days, but I heard that there are some of you who are not even eating a few days before the diving. I will explain what is happening to your body when you're doing that from the medical point of view, from the physiology. And I will explain why is it important to have something which is giving you the energy, even if you think that you don't need it, and even if you don't want your stomach to be upset with the food. But as this slide is unique for all the sports, it is showing. Why we need the energy and how important is the timing of the energy. It doesn't matter if you don't have the activity, you are not running, you are not you don't have like swimming, whatever, you don't have the active movement, but nevertheless your body is asking for the fuel, your muscle are asking for the fuel, and your brain is doing the same. So you cannot stop that. It's not something that you can say, oh, now I will not use energy, because it not depend from you. It's something which is from the physiology. And as you can see, when you have the meal that is coming close to your diving, and it should be in the point when your diving is happening, you will have the glycemia, the normal level of glucose in your blood, stable. That's the aim of every athlete. It doesn't matter what the sport is, but especially for you, you want that your brain also is having the energy to relax you, to be calm, and to be on the level you want during the diving. If you are not having the meal, if you are making yourself fasting, then like this, you will have the hypoglycemia, which will happen for sure. You cannot influence on that, and then you will have the flow that goes down for your sport performance, for your concentration, because it's happened. The hypoglycemia is normally happen when you are not eating, especially for a few days, but even few hours before the diving. But I know that some of you don't like. I'm just maybe not supporting the thesis that you shouldn't eat for days, which I heard it happens. So what would be advice for you? You don't want this kind of peaks because it doesn't help you. A lot of peaks with hypoglycemia going up and down when you're taking the sugar, like simple juices, chocolate, we call it the simple carbs. Then your glycemia is not stable and you have a problem with your body and your sport performance. So what would be the advice? Don't eat the big meals. If you should eat something, please try to eat smaller meals, of course 2 to 4 hours before the diving, before the session. Avoid the fast sugar, avoid the simple sugar that coming from the candies, juices, chocolate, and similar. Always never try the new food during the competition unless you try during the training, and try to be consistent in this. Try to find your nutrition strategy, trying to find your how to say, the dosage of the food, the meal volume that is good for you, and then try it for the training so you can have it during the competition. For you to understand why you are so different than other sports in normal life, when we have the oxygen and we have hypoxia, oxidative phosphorylation will produce the most energy we want, and that's the first line, most effective, giving the most energy, oxygen, giving the most ATP. If you remember, the ATP is the main source of energy in our cell. We cannot live with adenosine phosphate. And this metabolic is the simplest one, the one that we want. But in your sport, you are shifting to, we call anaerobic glycolysis, because you don't have oxygen, you are in hypoxia, and this is already published in the paper, and this is something which is happening for sure. So you are shifting to this anaerobic glycolysis system, which it's not bad, but it's less effective. You will have less ATP than with the oxidative phosphorylation. We will potentially have more CO2, and it's not because you are training a lot, it's just because of the physiology. It's only because of the hypoxia, and again, you cannot influence on that. It's happening any other way. So how you can make this anaerobic glycolysis more effective for you, or how can you use the maximum of this energy source that is happening during the diving? I heard and I read on the when I'm preparing the presentation, there was so much reading for this, and I found so many unofficial websites with advice for the free divers regarding the nutrition. And I found on so many of them that it is good that you are using the fat as a fuel. That is a good, because anyway you need to be lean, and the fat is not so bad as a fuel. And when you are fasting, then you will use the fat, you will get lean, and everything is okay. But it's not like that. Using the fat as a fuel is not so good as using the carbs or using the glycogen as a source of energy. Using a fat as a fuel, and this is happening when you are having a long period of fasting. If this happens, the fat is not so effective producing in energy as the carbohydrates, and that's the fact. You will have less energy, and you will spend more energy to produce it. It will not be so fast, it will not be so efficient, and you will actually need more oxygen to produce the same energy. And you don't want that. You want to spare the oxygen because you need it, and you want to rely on carbohydrates as a source of a fuel in your sport. I hope you understand this, because this is the basic that you need to understand. Beside that, beside the all of this that I'm explaining, we have, because of the hypoxia, we have the producing of lactic acid, which is making everything more acid in your body, and this is again the physiology. That people think like, okay, you are in the water, you're not doing anything, so you're just free diving. Why you have why your muscles are feeling heavy? Why you have the pain in the muscle? You didn't do anything. But again, it's a physiology. You're producing the lactic acid mainly because of the hypoxia, and mainly because the oxidative phosphorylation is not the one that you're using, but the energy is shifting to the glycolysis, which again is something that is happening normally without your effort. So I heard so many times, I want to feel light, when you are saying I didn't, because you know that you are coming to us after the doping control, you need to provide us the urine. And I heard so many times from you, oh, but I didn't drink and I didn't eat for a whole day, 2 days, nothing from yesterday, because I want to feel empty. I want to feel light. I feel sick when I eat. I heard so many stories. I want my blood goes up to the brain and everything. And of course, there is a little truth behind this. And of course, that we understand that you want to feel light. Of course, the empty stomach is feeling you this light. You have impression that you're more lighter, and it reduces your tension and you feel calm. But from the physiological point of view, you have this body says, okay, I'm a little bit stressed, so I don't have the fuel, and some hormones starts to going up and down, and which are not going into your favor. You have the stress hormone who are producing, and you have the unstable energy source. So the body is trying to find what will be the energy, because you didn't provide the normal they want. But even with even if we forget the muscles, for example, and even if we leave it only to the brain, but because at the end the brain will influence how long you will stay in the water, you must understand that your brain is asking for the fuel. So as it's written, 20% of total glucose supply is going to the brain. If you're giving 0 in hours or days before the competition, it will get a 0. Yes, it will use maybe the other supplies, the ketones, whatever, but again, it is not the same quality as it is using the glucose. And this is really evidence-based. It's not something that we are having assumption. So your brain health, how you will be calm, how you will control the situation under the water, your conscience and everything really depends how you feeding your brain. And if you're not giving anything hours or day before the competition, it's a problem. Does it mean that maybe, as I heard also from you, some of the divers practice the keto diet, again, because they want to use this fat as a source of energy? Is it yes or no? I mean, it's something between. You can use it in a short period. You can try it during the training period. you should search for, I will say, expert advice, because keto diet is not so easy on to have it, not so easy even to find the food for that is when you during I mean when you're having the practice or training on the pool. And for sure you are reducing your glycolytic capacity, you are lowering your buffering flexibility, which will now explain you, and you will have the higher oxygen cost. I just want maybe for you to remember after this presentation, you are spending the oxygen that you need if you are rely only on fat as a source. So, and of course, this is a state for the body that says that is really stressful, because the body is thinking, okay, why I'm not having any food? Is it some stress coming? And then you have the hormones that will be released. So the keto is not yes or no, but be careful if you want to do it. From the physiological point of view, you are not helping a lot to your free diving. Excellent paper, Advances in Breath Hold Diving Research, state-of-the-art review. All of the papers published for the breath hold diving in last 20 years are in this paper. Again, it's open, you can read it. And there is a sentence when the author says that fasting before dives may reduce the blood pull into the gut. I will also explain. And the low carbohydrate states may reduce the CO2. But again, there is no paper about that. There is not a lot of paper. And we need to we still need some research to say it for sure. So what is the diet that you want? Because everybody will ask, okay, so what is your solution? What should we eat? Again, the best diet on the world in the previous 7 years, not only for the people general, but also for athletes, is Mediterranean diet. And probably the one who are coming from these countries, it's normal for you, but it's excellent. It helps also in the sport performance. It's balanced. You have the good fat, you have the carbs, just as much as you need, a lot of fruits. You don't have so much red meat, but you have the fish, you have the good oils, like I said, and it is the diet that is now, as I said, becoming the most popular and from the medicine point of view, the best diet on the world. What about the hydration? Again, I need to remind you, you need to hydrate, because you're coming to, I watched last night the specific gravity on the doping control form, which is telling us how hydrated you are, and we are measuring during the doping control. And I saw on some of the athletes, it was 130, 128, 120, which means everything above 120 value is dehydrated. And I found not so small number of athletes who had this kind of values, which means they were dehydrated immediately after the diving. So you need to drink not only the water, but it is better to drink the sport drink, which has a little bit sugar and it has electrolytes. And with these electrolytes, you will have the sodium. And of course, there is no reason to do over drinking, but I guess in free diving is not happening so much. We have it in some other sports. For you, it's greater risk to be dehydrated, especially when you are open water. Now it will be a hot, and you don't have that's problem with the water sport. You don't have the impression how sweaty you are when you are in the water. So please think about the hydration, because even the meal hydration will not help your diving. It will, of course, if you skip to drink anything, yes, your stomach will be empty. Yes, you will decrease the the fullness, which is okay, but you will reduce the volume of your blood. You will reduce the blood concentration. You will influence on your thermoregulation, and you will influence your sympathetic system, which is not okay. So when you feel that you are thirsty, you're already dehydrated, and you will see the mental clarity is going down only for 2% of body loss, which will for sure happening during the long exercise and diving you have. So the blood volume is going down, the muscle strength is going down, which is very important for the dynamic part of your sport. The headache, the heart rate is going up, which is not good for your diving. So you are not drinking, which I heard a lot, is really not helping you. And at least something that you should practice is drinking on the level, again, that is making you to feel okay with your stomach, but not drinking is really not fine. It's not going in the favor of your sport performance. And of course, the cramps, vomiting, headache, and everything will come when you are severely dehydrated. How to know how you are dehydrated? You can watch how you pee, the color of your pee. That is the most simple. You will now see everywhere at the airports, trainings, dress rooms, everywhere is this color chart for the urine. And of course, if it's darker, you are dehydrated more. And my advice is please measure yourself before and after the training.
Deux pains au chocolat sur la table.
Somebody just to turn off the mic. Yep, thank you. So try to measure yourself before and after the training. Whatever you lose, it's a 1 kilo, you need to, in next hours, you need to produce 1.5 to that number. So if you are having a 1 kilo after the training less, you need to drink at least 1.5 liters of liquids. So take care about this. So what is the most source of fatigue that you will also experience? It's dehydration. If you're dehydrated, for sure you will experience the fatigue in your sport, and please be careful of that. And beside with dehydration and with low glycogen, you will influence how you tolerance the CO2, how you tolerance the hypercapnia. And that will again influence how long you will stay under the water. So don't have this shift with glucose. You shouldn't have actually the long fasting. Stay hydrated. Of course, find the volume of the food and liquid that is okay with you, but don't exclude it at all. And everything try during the training. We know that you want to reduce the stress you have in your stomach, that you are a special kind of the sport because of that. Everybody wants to feel like they're empty. And I heard from you, everybody wants to shift the blood to the brain and not to the stomach. But again, choose the smaller meals, light one, not with a lot of fibers. Don't drink the simple sugars. Don't do it like I'm not eating and then I will drink Coca-Cola. You did nothing. You didn't help your at all, because you will have the glycemia who is going up and down, and you will have a problem with your concentration and everything. And please think on your hydration. And this is the training also in nutrition, sport nutrition. In the last couple of the years, everybody's speaking about training the gut. So don't expect that you are never fasting in your training period, and then you just coming to the competition and says, okay, now I'm not eating 2 days or 1 day, and I expect a miracle. Don't do anything new before the diving that you didn't try before. You need to train the gut, and training the gut is happening during the training. And after all, you need to recover, and your brain needs to recover from all of this diving. And how is that possible? It's possible really with nutrition and good hydration, with a good sleep, with the fluids that have also the carbs and the electrolytes, with the proper nutrition with the carbs, so don't skip the meals, and of course with supplements that I will now show you. And I would just want to say you because I want to say because I saw. And I saw a number of the athletes who are very skinny, who are in a long term of fasting or maybe reducing the calories, which we call now energy deficiency in sport, which is now the big topic because it's happening also in normal life, not only sport. Everybody who is eating the less than they are having the energy expenditure is having this problem. So you will have the low mechanical output. You will be vulnerable to some immunity immunity system stress, you will have more stress hormone, and you will have impaired thermoregulation. If you think that eating the less is the way that you can reduce your body fat and everything, it's not a good way, because as you can see, you will influence your mental health, you will influence your immunity, your strength. So if you are always and every day for a long period eating much less than you are actually spend on your exercise, you are having the relative energy deficiency. In ladies, this will lead to amenorrhea, so the menstrual cycles will be totally disturbed. And I think that some of you told me that because they are having so low fat, they lose their menstrual cycles. This is not good for your bone health and everything. So take care. This is not the way for you to have a better performance, because no one is telling that it will happen. So to have a little conclusion from the nutrition, and I will dedicate this now time to supplements. Please avoid like I said, the sugar spike, the heavy meals. Try not to be dehydrated. We understand that you want to feel feeling light, and we understand that you want that every blood is going to your brain, not to the stomach. But still, your brain, your muscle need energy. So don't make them feel stress. Should I dive fasted? Like it's on this slide, it's not a fuel crisis, it's a safety mechanism. Your brain is every fasting, which is a long-term taking as a, it's written here, stop signal. So it's reduced the muscle full capacity, and you're losing actually the muscle strength. So it's not like a game with the brain and the muscle, and you need to find what's in the middle. Does body fat matter in free diving? Yes, not in free diving for the free diving, but in your general health. If you don't having a fat if you don't have a normal body fat, this will influence producing your hormones, vitamins. This will even influence producing your testosterone, which you want. You want to have a muscle, right? But it will not happen. It will influence the producing of the cortisol, hormone of stress, that you heard now everybody's talking about that. It will influence your hunger and appetite, actually, if you're having this kind of period. So take care about that. Is lower body fat better? No. I'm telling that to all athletes in every sport. Making you lean or having a less body fat will not automatically lead you to the success. It's not automatic. I mean, losing the body fat, yes, it can help, of course, but it doesn't mean that automatically you will be the better free diver. It doesn't happen so easy. So don't overdoing with low fat, because I believe that there is a thinking that it's less is the better, but not here. What should I eat before different session? Find your nutrition, find your meals that are not heavy. Train during the training, which is also important. And I'm just showing you this, a nice published like in newspaper, when the sport nutrition is going in favor of every athlete. And this was the topic when it's written, the chocolate milk is more effective as in sport, because it's good for recovery. It has the protein, it has the carbs. So this is also a nice idea. And after the sessions, especially, so it's not like a big science. It's sometimes it's very simple, but you need to find your way. How will you know that something works? You're feeling good, you are having better and better performance, you are not exhausted, and you are not losing energy, you are not always sick, you are not after every diving you cannot recover like next few hours. That means that you are doing the good thing. If everything of this is happening, something is missing. So it's not normal that every diving is just make you very how to say, sick on the level of brain, and that you need a lot of time to recover. And beside nutrition, we are coming, as it's written here, to supplements. So to conclude the nutrition, please, the nutrition is always closer connected to general health. Giving the energy to you is not only because of the diving, it's really influenced your general health. So, it's how to say, there is some minimum that you need to provide. The supplements, which is very active topic with you, you want always to discuss about that. And like every athlete, you're expecting a little miracle for every supplement. That's why athletes are very easy to sell the supplements. That's why you are always the first one to buy everything which is promising that is, wow, doing whatever in sport. But just to know, in sport nutrition, we are always like to be led by evidence base. For your sport, for bread holding, not so many papers. Actually, from the supplements, only one. And I will show you now what. But there are a lot of things that we saw that you are drinking during this period and that you are thinking that maybe it's good for the diving. In this paper, you will find the chapter skeletal muscle and metabolic adjustment. And there is around 15 studies, but only one or two dedicated to supplements. Everything else is for the nutrition that I already told you, and you can also read there. What is in sport? There is only one institution, and Nenad will talk about it in detail. I will just mention only one institution on the world who put the supplements in the group and says, okay, this is working for this is for this, and this is evidence-based, and you should drink that. So there are group A and B that are existing in this protocol. And the A is this one that you can take for your general health, of course, and for the sport, but all the athletes really like this one: caffeine, beta-alanine, beetroot juice, sodium bicarbonate, creatine. That is also in your in free diving very popular. And now I put a little just example of this group B that is still don't have enough evidence, but you, of course, you are drinking the collagen. You heard about ketones. You're drinking omega-3, multivitamins, prebiotics, probiotics. I don't have a time to explain everything. We just pick some of them. If there is an interest of you, we can discuss more detail. It will be my pleasure. The only supplement that is described in the paper with the bread whole divers was actually a beetroot juice. But beetroot juice became very popular in previous 10 years. And now it's in the range of like creatine, caffeine. It's that evidence-based range. Why? Because the nitrates from the beetroot, nitric oxide, is doing the vasodilatation. So it is your blood vessels are dilating, which is good for you. You want that. You have more oxygen. Your keeping the breath is much easier. Your brain is getting the more oxygen, and that's okay. You are reducing the oxygen cost during your diving. Your muscle are not asking for so many oxygen. So everything is going in the favor of your sport. But in the paper, that only two paper published, one paper says like this: the promoting oxygen conservation and improving mitochondrial efficiency. And recently paper says that there was two cases, but again, it's only two cases of blackout after the beetroot powder. So it's not so easy to make a conclusion. I would say maybe try on the short diving because there is a sense for you to use the beetroot juice. I was telling maybe to some of you during the doping controls, it's a good thing. Maybe you can try during your short diving and see how you are reacting. The thing is that you need to drink a lot, as it's written here. You need to try first. You need 2-3 hours for this nitric oxide to start to act, and you need a full cup of pure beetroot juice. It's not like the juice commercial one with the sugar, but the pure beetroot juice, the full cup, more than 350 milliliters, and that's maybe not easy to drink. You can mix with something which is citric, and then you can try. This is one supplement. Magnesium, I heard so many of you speaking like, oh, I want to relax, and there is a reason. Magnesium is really like in this in this picture you can see it's doing the vasodilatation, again going into the favor of your sport of free diving. It relaxes really, it helps to reduce the cramps, that's also the truth, and it calms you, and that is also the fact. So should you drink? Yes, why not? Probably we are all deficient in magnesium because we are not eating a lot of green things and everything, but take care, don't take a lot, don't go overdose, because you will have only side effects. You will lower your stress response, which you don't want. You want to have alert during your diving. You don't want to suppress. You want to you want to react when there is a time to react. Of course, you don't want to have a blackout. So magnesium, don't do overdosage. I would say you will ask what magnesium. For you, probably the magnesium glycinate is the one that will do this relaxation, vasodilatation, and calm on the level of the brain. The other one will produce energy. The other one is for cramping, maybe for better concentration and cognition is treonate. Now you see there is a lot of them coming, but if you ask, is it a good supplement for the free diving? Yes. I would say, and in many papers, it is described along with the vitamin D. It's so easy to know, do you have the vitamin D deficiency or not? Just check in your blood if you have, and I guess you have during the winter period, because you're indoor sport at one part, you will have the deficiency. Both of them together will produce a very adverse effect if they're in deficiency to your health. Your immune system will go down, your cognition will go down, and everything. So check vitamin D. As you can see now, there is so many papers describing it. It is so important in sport. It is so important for the muscle contraction, for your immunity and everything. So this vitamin D and magnesium is probably the one that you cannot do it wrong. The one that I don't have a lot of experience, because I didn't have athlete who wants to reduce their calm, to have so calm, to be so calm like you. It's L-theanine, but of course everybody tried one point because it's coming from the black and green tea. Yes, really, there is a paper who says that they can calm you, they can bring your focus, they can relax, because the theanine is doing that as coming from the herb. You should try on the training. It's very subjective. Somebody is responding, somebody is not responding. Don't overdose again, because it can influence your awareness. And this is like it's written here. It's we are getting from the tea leaves, and this is very interesting. It is going in the favor of free diving because it is increasing the GABA. The GABA is actually the neurotransmitter that is reducing the concentration, the synapses working, and during the free diving, when you want to be calm, your muscle, your brain, you want that. You want GABA system is going up, and that is why this green and black tea can help. As you can see, the dosage is around 100, 200, 300. You need to drink a few cups of the tea during the day, 3 up to 5. So maybe it's easier to drink the theanine as a supplement. Try, why not? It's one good idea for the sport when you need to be calm and restless. The next two supplements are influencing the acidity that you will develop, and that will happen for sure, because you know that during the diving you will have the CO2 rising, and the system of basis acidosis will of course be disturbed, and yes, you will have more accumulated this lactic acid that we also speak about. So buffering is actually neutralizing this acid, is coming from the beta-alanine. Beta-alanine is doing that through carnosine, who has the buffer capacity, and this is the excellent supplement for the free divers. As it's written here, it can start to during the diving very fast. It starts to have effect in a few minutes. What is the thing you need to? It has the slow release, but you need to take it maybe for a couple of days, not just on the day when there is a diving. And yes, you can feel paresthesia, that this thing in your fingers, ear. Who drink that, they know, but it's really a good supplement for free diving. The dosage is around 5 grams per day, and it is well described in so many short and the long, now short and the long term sports, and it's, if there is any advice for you to use, this one is excellent. The parallel to this is sodium bicarbonate. The same, it's buffering. suffering. It's again reducing the lactate, but the problem with sodium is that you cannot find a commercial so easy supplement. You cannot drink a lot of simple sodium bicarbonate because it's so heavy to your stomach. That's a side effect. And yes, it will help. If you find a good supplement, it will help you with all this lactate that is produced and acid that is produced in your body during the diving. But be careful; it can give you the gastrointestinal disturb and during the dives. So find like it's written here. Find the dosage because the dosage is pretty high, and take care about the cramps that you can have in your belly, in your stomach, and maybe try to take it with some carbs to reduce it. But I saw that there is some of you who drink it and they were okay with that. And just two more for the end. This is a supplement that start to take me a lot of attention in a previous period because a lot of athletes start to drink ashwagandha as I can say herb supplement. I can say little issue with ashwagandha is we are missing the papers in the sport for sure, but we are in a way missing the papers who will tell is ashwagandha helping the energy booster or maybe ashwagandha is helping you to calm down at the end of the day. Because the mechanism is so tricky, some athletes will say, oh, I have so many energy, and the other will say, I'm drinking before sleep to calm down. So yes, again, it can influence your recovery and your calmness, but still we are missing the papers about that. It's very subjective, and it's not easy to predict how you will react. And yes, it takes a little bit chronic usage, as it's written here, that we know how it works. And there is many claims, many mechanisms, still a big question in the free diving. And my favorite antioxidant, free diving is for sure producing how they call reactive oxygen species. During the free diving, you are producing a lot of free radicals. You cannot do anything. It's a normal thing because your body is under stress. And these free radicals are making a little damage to all the part of your body. That's why we are drinking the antioxidant, because we want to stop this oxygen species to make a damage in our body. The simple one is the vitamin C that you are drinking. If you don't have chance for anything else, vitamin C can be a good solution because you will have a better recovery. You will feel better at the end of the day. You will not have so high inflammation because even in free diving, your muscles are suffering. And it's helping you adaptation. So you can do through the cherries and berries, how they say. So everything that has a color, cherries, blueberries, blackberries, they have antioxidant. They are doing anti-inflammatory thing, and they're reducing the cell damage that you for sure have after a long free diving. So you can try that, or you can try the one that I saw on the internet that free divers are using. My favorite is astaxanthin because I made my PhD on this supplement. It is also having a nice color, the red one. So you can find it in the fish, algae, and birds. The most of the supplement is actually Haematococcus pluvalis. It's algae that is coming. This supplement. It is strong anti-inflammatory, strong reducing this oxygen species, cardioprotective, neuroprotective. People are drinking today for the eye health, for the skin health, for the cardiovascular health. From the few papers when I make my PhD up to more than 200 now that is coming for astaxanthin. In my PhD, in my study, I showed that it is lowering the creatine kinases, and in free diving, it is found that it is higher after a long free diving, so it can help you with that. And the time to exhaustion was for those who drink astaxanthin. In my study, there were the football players. They ran much longer, so they can try much longer to exhaustion, which is also your aim in free diving. So a lot of benefits now become very popular, and the good thing is that it can reduce the skin redden. When you're along on the sun, it can just reduce the burnings on your skin because it's also working anti-inflammatory. And for ketones, somebody of you comment on the last doping control that they are drinking the ketones. The ketones would be actually similar to the energy that is alternative where you don't have the carbs. As I said, it's not the easy way to use as a energy source. You can give it and you can training your brain to use the ketones because anyway, at the one point during the long diving, it will use the ketones. But this supplement still needs a little bit investigation. But the one that doesn't is for sure caffeine. And we see so many of you drinking the caffeine as only one stimulant that is allowed. So the question, should the divers drink the caffeine? I will say moderate, yes. It can help you for the alertness. It can help you for the better concentration, to have the focus, but don't overdosing because on that way you will have the side effects. You will feel tachycardia, your heart will start, working more than you want. The heart rate will go up and you will shift, like it's written, autonomic balance to sympathetic. So adrenaline will start to work their job, which you don't want. So yes, it's very good for cognitive. It's good even to mobilize fatty acid for energy, which you will need. But try to stay with a moderate dose. This is 3 up to 6 milligrams, which will be around 200 milligrams. One tablet, usually one tablet is 200 milligrams before diving. And yes, please try during the training. Don't try during the diving. And a few of you told me that they are not drinking the caffeine because make them dehydrate, and that is not the truth. So many papers and I heard so many athletes believing in this, but no. If you take the moderate consumption, like it's written here, it was the 4 cups of coffee, the boiled coffee. It didn't have any diuretic effect, so it will not influence on that level. But try to stay moderate, and yes, it can help. And for the end, something which is just to trick you, but we can discuss something new in the sport nutrition: pickle juice and mental taste. The pickle juice is becoming, in I will say, a year behind us, popular because the acid from the pickle juice is actually on our there is some receptor in our mouth that this acid will activate, and then our brain will have the signal to reduce the cramps. So some of the cramps, which can even happen in your sport, will come from the mental fatigue. And there is assumption that if you drink the very small shot of the pickle juice before the diving, maybe you can reduce the cramps, because you will actually make your brain think that there is you will just make your brain false thinking with this sense with these receptors that are activated, and you will stop the cramps that can happen. And the second thing, which is good, because now it will come the hot weather and the big temperatures. There is a paper who are telling, but that this is happening for a few years, that mental taste, like this fisherman mental that everybody knows, is it can also, with the same receptors that we have on our mouth, that it will help for you to have the belief that your temperature is going down, so the heat tolerance will be much better, the breathing will be much better, so you can more calm, and your perceiving of exertion of tiredness will be lower. This is also something that is good, for example, for the free diving. So maybe one fisherman this lozenge, how it's written here, can help also this, but this is new one. This is something that is coming up and still need some papers. And this is where I finish my part with nutrition and supplements. Before we have a 5-10 minutes break, is there anybody who wants to ask some kind of question? Or maybe you want to do it later. Okay, I will be here again in 10 minutes. If you want, you have a time to think. If you want, you can ask me in we will say 11:10. So not to take you a longer, like 6-7 minutes. Then the Nenad will start the second part, which is also connected to supplement, but the other side of the supplement and how cautious you need to be when you're choosing the supplement. Is this fine for you? Okay, I see only. Okay, okay, a little break and then we are coming again.
This is the presentation, and then I will speak about, as I already said, about supplements, which could be how to choose the supplements, how to choose the nutritional supplements, which is actually for us very important topic. This is done in accordance with our colleagues from 5 countries, from Lithuania, France, Poland, Greece, Malta, etc., etc. And I think it's very important that you understand that potentially you could be in a kind of a doping trap, and it's not easy to find the proper supplements. But somehow, if you take care about everything, you could be sure that at least minimize the risk. Supplements are used by many athletes in general for different reasons, and whenever we are doing any study, we could show that supplements are used in more than 50% of the cases. In more than 50% of the athletes are using supplements. Recently, the last paper we published, it was with International Rugby League, where we proved that percentage is even higher, and that supplements are somehow used by athletes without proper knowledge, and they are combining the same group of supplements and drugs, in spite that it's not how to say necessary. So somehow that is also important to understand and to take care about that. The well-known fact that between, let's say, like it's written here, 10 to 15% of supplements contain prohibited substances. I mean, that is something which you should have in mind, because even the best producer could not guarantee that supplements are without prohibited substances. And in general, supplements are not backed by evidence. It's sometimes it's very difficult to find to find enough evidence base that some supplements should be used. Marija spoke about that, and in general, that is something which you should watch on PubMed, or never on Google, because on Google you have too much marketing. How we divided this presentation and this agenda: we will speak about several topics, and the first topic will be why checking supplements is critically competence for every user. That is something which is important that you understand, that unintentional doping or inadvertent doping cases are coming from that side, and you should be cautious about that. And I should remind you about strict liability, which is not fair. I mean, I just came from Zagreb, Conference of Ethics in Sport, and I support that idea that strict liability, that athletes is responsible for everything what his in body ultimately responsible. It's not fair, but that is the law solution, and somehow you need to be aware of that. And if we come from the point that you are taking so many supplements, up to here is written 80 to 90%. I practically didn't meet athlete or a recreational athlete who is not taking something, at least vitamin D. So somehow you should be aware when you are taking something that that is something which is that is not prohibited, that is clean, and that will really good for the purpose you are taking. Why is this important? I took some cases which are well known. All those 3 tennis players, the best one on the world level, have been unintentional doping, and because of strict liability, they have been punished. I mean, I don't want to speak too much about Sinner case because there are a lot of politics inside. But if I'm speaking about Halep and Swiatek, I could tell you that they have been in real trap. I mean, Halep used whey protein where somebody put, I don't know why, some manufacturer put a substance which is improving erythropoiesis. And Swiatek used melatonin where somebody actually put trimetazidine. And that was a huge process for them. So somehow you could imagine that on one side is athlete, on another side is World Anti-Doping Agency, International Federation, the complete system, and they should fight on CAS to get minimal penalty. And in Swiatek's case, it was so easy. As you know, I mean, actually, like free divers, tennis players are traveling around and they have jet lag. And in one moment, she used a melatonin, but that melatonin was contaminated without labeling, without how to say possibility to know, with trimetazidine, which is actually not so potent prohibited substance, but it's improving some energy production on especially on the heart level. And then she proved that supplement was contaminated, but in spite of that, she was punished. So just be cautious, take care, and I mean, we'll speak until the end of the presentation how to choose a supplement. In general, you could consider it. I don't know, did Marija mention it? But that Mohan rule. If supplement is not banned, it's probably not effective. If supplement is effective, it's probably banned. And there are some exceptions, and those three exceptions are creatine, coffee, and bicarbonates. I mean, they're not prohibited, and they are really effective. And I mean, you could how to say use them and see is there any value for you. But in general, I mean, that is something which is a well-known practice. When you're speaking about risk management, I mean, for you, it's important to understand regulatory limitations because regulatory limitations are not the same in every country. There are some differences. There is in some countries there is even criminal penalty, etc., etc. So somehow you need to be aware what are your legal duties or how the law is preventing you to taking certain supplements. Then you should recognize high risk product categories. I mean, there is too many pre-workout supplements which are combined with 50 substances, and nobody on earth could be sure is there any substance which is potentially prohibited, or is there any substance which could, how to say, give important side effects. You should be cautious regarding marketing language. You should understand what is actually evidence and what is the marketing. And you should try to find some verification tools. I will speak more about that. And finally, in your system, in your way of thinking, in your how to say understanding, you should have a proper decision-making process in order to understand why you are deciding to take. Why did you decide to take something, and did you do everything in order to be sure that that substance is not prohibited and it's good for your body. There are many, of course, studies, and one of the study which is done by International Olympic Committee showing that the most important doping vulnerability for athletes is actually nutritional supplements, because I mean at least all the athletes on the world believe that nutritional supplements could improve their sport performance, and because of that they are taking something, but they are never sure is that okay or not. So for that reason we need to discuss this, because that is, how to say, as you could see, the most important vulnerability. Second thing which we will discuss is regulatory status of nutritional supplements, what user must understand. And what you should understand first is that supplements are regulated as food, not as medicine. And that is really important, because unfortunately, Americans did that Dietary Supplement Health and Educational Act, and they said that supplements could go on the market without previous checking, like medical drugs, which is actually bad because somehow we are faced with so many different supplements which potentially could potentially be without even active substance inside. But I mean, they're on the market. And that safety assessment is regularly done from the point that those supplements in every country practically, but that those supplements are not contaminated by microbes, by bacteria, they are not chemically polluted, they are not radioactive, etc., etc. But nobody's actually testing the content of those supplements. So somehow that is on you. That is on you to be sure that that manufacturer is reliable and that supplement is produced by good manufacturing practice. Regarding supplements, comparing to the drugs, manufacturers are not required to prove efficacy. And on the contrary, with the drugs, every drug is going to the market only when the quality, when the how to say efficacy of the drug is proved. And we have here kind of a problem because supplements are going out of the market only when they showed clearly some side effects, but then it's too late. Then too many people are potentially in problems. So somehow that is not a good solution, but that is coming from that Dietary Supplement Health Education Act. And there is no mandatory pre-market testing. There are no phases in creation of the supplements. Of course, some companies are doing, but that is not mandatory. When somebody is producing drug, then they are mandatory to go to 4 phases, and then the drug is going to the market. Then when everybody is sure that that drug would not harm the people. So somehow that is interesting. And whenever you have possibility to choose between supplement and drug who are doing the same, like vitamin D, never go to the vitamin D which is a supplement. Always go to the vitamin D which is registered as a drug. It is definitely in the concentration which you need, and it's definitely tested, and it's definitely vitamin D inside, and usually that form of vitamin D is cheaper, much cheaper than dietary supplements. So that is kind of a knowledge which you could get even if you research a little bit the market. Then we have post-market surveillance and its limitations. I mean, post-market surveillance is showing us that we have contaminated products, but I mean that is a post-market, and we have how to say we have documented cases where athletes have been exposed to that. I mean, I just presented you the top 3 tennis players who have been in problem because of that. And we have a problem because actually that's happening online. You could buy supplements on many different ways, which is not controlled by the regulatory institutions of one state. So somehow, even when law enforcement or different kinds of organization who are following supplements are trying to do something, they could not do it completely because there is always at least that internet online way of selling the supplements. So you need to be especially how to say cautious when you are buying supplements online. The third regulatory status of nutritional supplements, which we will speak about, is variability between jurisdiction. That is a global risk factor. So that means something what is valid in Italy doesn't mean that it's good in Serbia. Something what is good there, it's not good in the United States or on Cyprus. So somehow you are never sure when you're buying supplements that you're doing the same things. I mean, there are some codexes which are controlling that, but that is just globally not accepted by everybody, and the maximum doses are different. For example, in Hungary, my colleague easily give permission to vitamin C to be sold in a dosage of 1 gram, and more than 1 gram. But in Serbia, my colleagues, professors from pharmacy are looking the daily allowable dose, and if it is 90 milligrams, they are always asking, okay, come on, for God's sakes, why some importers is one company would like to sell the vitamin C of 500 milligrams. So somehow, why, for God's sake, 1 gram? So that are the big difference in something which is recognized, in something which is in practice. And as I said, enforcement and inspections are inconsistent. Just if we are looking one region, I mean, former Yugoslavia, Austria, Hungary, etc., we have practically 7 or 8 different kind of enforcement capabilities, enforcement approaches, and it's not the same. So in one country something is allowed, in another country is not allowed, and you should be aware of that. And ingredient is something which is mainly bother me. You could believe me, we did several congresses about dietary supplements, and the professors who are doing analytics showed us that, for example, in one supplement, we could have, if that supplement is, let's say, vitamin of 100 milligrams, the dosage and concentration of that in one tablet, in one capsule, could vary from 10 milligrams up to 150. So, I mean, simply they are not obliged to follow any standards, and that is the problem for the majority of manufacturers. Claim regulations and marketing language is something, of course, which is very dangerous because it's very aggressive. And I mean, of course, manufacturers are trying to boost the selling and to say something that is something is a miracle, something is how to say very important, etc., etc. And because of that language is try to be somehow controlled by regulatory bodies. EFSA is European Food and Safety Agency, and I mean the good how to say language is that one supplement support strength, but not giving you extra performance and you are stronger than anybody else, and that supplement is better than any other supplement. So somehow you should see the difference, and you should actually understand that you need to follow something which is reasonably advertised. And then there are many supplements which are claiming that they are doing something, and in general they are not doing something. And I invited you to go to the PubMed, just put PubMed, and then put every supplement which you like, and then you will get many papers where somebody actually tried to prove or discuss something which is important for that supplement. And I mean, of course, athletes are speaking about that, and those testimonials are now especially how to say important for marketing, and we are all aware that on social networks, Instagram, etc., you have some of those testimonials. But what I could say, I could say that, for example, for me, that what Chinese government just did, that about something testimonials or advices could be done only by people from that who are educated and who are expert in that field. So it's not even possible that everybody is life coach, everybody is a nutritional coach, etc., because simply it doesn't work. And I mean the people are misleading, are misleading with that kind of statement. And finally, we have anti-doping relevance of manufacturing standards. That is something which is actually very, very tough question, because, as I said, supplement manufacturers are not obliged to do by GMP, and that GMP means good manufacturing practice. And since they are not obliged to do, they could produce everything without any, how to say, without any problem. Just look the case of Iga Swiatek. I mean, she entered the supplementary shop for dietary supplements. She bought melatonin, and then she was positive on trimetazidine, which is not labeled on the box. My best advice when you're using some supplements, leave 2 tablets inside. Leave the box, just to know how to say that that potential contamination is coming from that supplements. And that was very cleverly done by Iga Swiatek. And in the same time, she proved with that supplement was contaminated, and that the complete cereal production is contaminated. And that was done in one factory. I could tell you that cross-contamination is not so rare. I was in the board of Galenica, that is our local medical company, drug company, and you could imagine that they by hazard, they mixed up cross-contaminated AC inhibitor with antidepressant. But because they have good manufacturing practice, in one step they found out it. And since the most of the companies who are producing supplements, they are not doing that, then they put in danger users. So somehow you need to be aware of that. And of course, that good manufacturing practice differ internationally. I mean, it's not the same in Europe like in Asia, and not the same in Asia like in Africa, etc., etc. But we are buying the products from all around the world, and we need to be sure that in our mind that this is a good product because we are buying and we decided to buy it. But in general, we need to be aware: is it really a good product or not? This is the slide which are done one of the best nutritional specialists in the world, Asker Ekendrup. And you could see here that as he is written here, the list of ingredients of the label differently, how they would appear on the prohibited list. Then we have a lot of counterfeit or fake supplements. We published even the paper about that with European Pharmacological Agency, and then we proved that counterfeit fake supplements are equally presented on the market, almost like contaminated supplements. The supplements could have on the label something which they don't have it. They don't have all listed substances on the label, like in case of Iga Swiatek. They could even provoke something which is opposite to the effect it's claimed. And so you need to be aware of that. In general, even if we are medical doctors and like to have a good proof, we understand when athletes say that some supplement is work, some is not, some is doing something, some is not doing. So somehow that is important for us to understand. And even me, as I taking supplements, I am carefully monitoring myself and see, is there any difference in something which I like to improve, let's say concentration, strength, speed, etc., etc. So somehow you should try to do the same. You should be aware, is one supplement is doing good to you or not. What is good or bad interpreting of supplement label? When you don't have complete list of ingredients, that is bad. When you don't have batch or lot identification, that means that somebody did something and they didn't do on a proper way. They didn't do a production of a certain number of boxes in one batch or one lot. And then proprietary blends is something which is really important, because one company have somehow protected the ingredients, and they said that is a proprietary blends. But who knows what is behind that? And then we have those multiple botanical extracts, those alkaloids, and you should be especially aware of that. I mean, because I mean that is not easy to categorize, and even Zhensheng is not the same. For example, Zhensheng in China, in South America, in Europe is totally different. Those ingredients are different, coming from the different source. Then there is ambiguous ingredient naming, just to confuse you, just that you are not understand. I mean, and that is also important to be aware of that. And of course, I already said that we have those claims which are aggressive, which are advertising extremely good performance, etc., etc. That is not something which should be even on the level of the supplements. So what is a good labeling? A good labeling means that you have all list of ingredients, that you have quantitative declaration. Yeah, I mean, recently I have been asked by one of the editor of a journal to give opinion about one supplements, and then I saw just the ingredients without quantitative declaration. So for me that was immediately suspicious, and I asked, come on, where are the how to say dosage of each substance? Then you should have recommended daily dose, name and address of the manufacturer or distributor, batch and lot number, and expiry or best before date. So somehow then you have all legal requirements on label, and then that means that that company potentially is probably doing good, because if they put everything, they are taking care about important things, which is actually important for production, actually important for understanding that in front of us is potentially good supplement. Then we should identify high-risk supplement categories. And when we say that, I mean, there are some categories which we need to take care about, especially take care about those categories, like pre-workout supplements. I mean, what does it mean pre-work? I mean, you need to improve something, then you should improve just that thing, not to improve everything. So I don't need all vitamins if I need, let's say, vitamin E because of as an antioxidant. But I'm taking multivitamins, not only multivitamins, but at the same time multiminerals and some certain number of alkaloids, because that is how to say the best pre-workout supplements. It's not. And then we have fat burners and weight loss products. I mean, that is a real issue, because people like to be, many people are not only obese, but they have a little bit more kilos than it's necessary for certain discipline, for certain sport, and they need to reduce it. It's sometimes difficult, and then they are trying to do with fat burners. And in general, that is not working. And in general, fat burners are a trap, is a kind of a trap. Even it is not a trap for prohibited substance, sometimes they could have some kind of stimulants which are dangerous for the cardiovascular system. I just like to remind you on ephedrine, who is banned from all the countries around, especially European countries, because it is doing vasoconstriction, and it could provoke heart attack. And then we have different kind of muscle builders, testosterone booster, prohormone products. I mean, Tribulus, for example. I mean, Tribulus is a potentially good supplement, but I mean, we could rarely see that it's doing something which is advertised, that it's claimed to do, that it's boosting testosterone hormones. But there are some companies, especially from Bulgaria, that is our experience, real experience, that testosterone or anabolics are put inside. And then athletes said, oh, look, this is working. But it's working because something is inside which is not labeled on, and that is potentially important to understand, because because of that we have several cases. Just on one control, we have two bikers positive. And then we have sexual performance supplements and vitality supplements. It's a huge area. That cognitive enhancers and focus supplements. For example, you like to have a cognitive enhancement, you could use creatine, but you don't need to use multi-component supplement with 30 substances which are all working somehow to improve your cognition, because that is very difficult for you. And whenever you see that something is rich in advanced, hardcore, extreme, be cautious. And low risk supplements categories are relative, not absolute safety. But I mean, our best advice when you're choosing supplement, you need to, let's say, improve the deficiency of vitamin D because you do the blood check and then you found that your vitamin D is down. So you're taking just vitamin D, but you're not taking all the vitamins because you don't need it. And this contamination of the supplements is proved. There are so many studies, and as you could see, the best countries could not, could not control that, and all of them have a big percentage of supplement contamination. There are so many studies, including studies that are done by International Olympic Committee, as a warning to athletes to be cautious regarding that. What could be a verification tool and a database which you could use? I mean, even some of my colleagues believe that when some company write that supplement is checked and there is no doping free of doping is written on the box, that means something. In general, that doesn't mean anything. In general, they checked supplements for the certain number of prohibited substances. We could not rely on that, and that is just a pure marketing. So somehow that is not something which could be 100% positive for proof that supplement is safe. And then we have that one-time testing, vice versa, ongoing surveillance. I mean, in many cases, we had a situation that manufacturer test one batch, and then according to that, confirmation, he advertised that complete production is safe. No, just that batch is safe. So it's important to understand that not complete production and not production in a year is safe because he invested, I don't know, certain hundreds of euros and tested one batch. That is already mentioned. They are checking selected substances. They are never testing complete analytical panel. The only laboratory who potentially do that, and there is a famous Köln list. It is done by Antidoping laboratory in Köln. And they are doing the highest number of prohibited substances tested, but still not all of them. So you could never be sure that one supplement is completely doping free. And majority of the lab is testing just to knowing substances. But what does it mean? I mean, there is a huge market. Even the prohibited lists have so many pages. So somehow you could never be sure when you are checking that. You should be cautious. You need to think about from different perspectives, like I already said. And then we have new supplements and emerging, supplements, like, for example, now NMN. And I mean, people are taking that, but nobody didn't test it. Is it potentially with prohibited substances or not? I spoke about cross-contamination, and why is that so unregulated? First, there is no who is forcing manufacturers to do that, and then there is also a problem with finance. I mean, they have usually majority of the companies have small production, so when they tested one batch, they like to use that result for the other batches, but that is not possible. The only good way that you are taking the supplement from the batch which is tested, but you should be then very cautious and compare the lot numbers, etc., and be sure that that is potentially tested. There are different kind of verifications. There are different kind of sites who are doing that. Many the Cologne list is this one, the last one. Maybe that is something which is reliable because it's coming from the best laboratory, anti-doping laboratory in the world. But in general, what I could say for all of them, that they are non-transparent, they are never testing all ingredients and all prohibited substances. sometimes there is a commercial conflict of interest, especially when the test is done by manufacturer, because of course they are doing tests in order to, how to say, boost selling of the supplements, not to prevent how to say selling, etc., etc. So those safe unsafe classifications doesn't mean too much, because safe doesn't cover everything what is important for you as a athlete. Marija also already mentioned Australian Institute of Sport, and whenever you have a problem, our best advice is to go there. And check. They divided supplements in four groups. You see group A, B, C, D, and of course A is with the evidence and how to say evidence-based protocols, etc., etc. So you should rely on that. And then there are supplements which they don't have enough papers and don't have enough evidence base, but there are a certain number of papers which are not so, how to say, good, like in group A. And then there is group C, where majority of the people are using those supplements, but there is a huge practice of using those supplements, but there is not a huge database regarding that. And D, where you should be cautious. For example, Tribulus, which I mentioned, is there. So you need to be aware of that. And the only institution who is trying to be updated with everything, especially until Louis Burke started to work there, is Australian Institute of Sport. Understanding WADA prohibited list in practice, that is something which is a mess, actually, because that list is bigger and bigger. And that list is not structured as a catalog of brand names or commercial products, but generic names, which is difficult for most of the users. They are putting new substances all the time. They are practically never they are never taking supplements out from the list. Then there is a division on in competition, out of competition supplements, which are confusing some of the athletes. For example, beta-2 agonists for asthma, they are prohibited all the time, in competition, out of competition. But corticosteroids are prohibited only in competition. And there is a group of specified and non-specified substances. Non-specified are the substances with highest risk and how to say higher possibility to be finished with maximal penalty. And of course, there is a big group of metabolites, precursors, and indirect exposure, which means that not everything is even written on prohibited list. But because of that, World Anti-Doping Agency put group S0, where everything could be potentially doping, depending how they will decide in a certain moment. For the end, what is the practical checkup, step by step of supplement protocol, checking protocol for the supplements? First step is that supplement justified? Is it something which you really need? And you are not taking supplements because you need to take some supplements. You are taking supplements because you have it for recovery, you have it because of insufficiency, you have it because of concentration, you have it because of strength, etc., etc., etc. Then you have those category-based risk screening, and then you're thinking about, okay, I would like to have something for pre-workout, but okay, I don't need something which is so complicated. Maybe I could do something like beetroot juice, like Marija just said, and then you are following just one product, not a multi-component product. The third step is critical label analysis, and then you should be the guy who is reading that. I mean, who is reading the label. Everything is written on the label, and at least the law is forcing a manufacturer to put so many data on the label. And I told you what is important for you to understand. So somehow, for me, as a doctor, it's important that you understand what you're taking. When I ask you what you are taking, it's not sufficient to tell me I'm taking something for sleeping. No, I'm taking melatonin of that and that dosage because I understand that tablet could improve my sleeping. So that is something which is better than just I'm taking something. Of course, you need to be sure that the supplement is not on the prohibited list. Whenever you are not sure, you need to ask somebody. Is it your doctor, some teammates, or you could ask us? We are usually replying in 48 hours for every question you send to us, and or you could use some independent tool. You could use different kind of companies who are analyzing supplements, but you should take with cautious. I mean, you should compare that first. You could use that first step with previous four, and then you are more sure that something is good, etc., etc. And then you need to have your kind of your process of thinking and to document something. Why don't you have just a folder where you put some good papers which you find on PubMed with some claims of the manufacturer, with some reports of independent companies, etc., etc., and then you're sure that you are good. And finally, advice is always to keep the box, and at least if you are going to the competition and you could be potentially tested, to keep the box and keep at least 2 tablets that you could prove that something is contaminated. And communication is very important. And the reason why we are doing this is actually that we saw that you are not completely informed about everything. And our idea is that you have a proper information. And of course, that is a kind of process. And I mean, we believe that when we meet in Budapest, in Cyprus, and we do some additional medical checkups, etc., and measurements, that we could speak about this. And then that is one of a good process of reviewing everything and understanding better supplements and taking the supplements. So considering use of the supplements, this is Australian Institute of Sport. So if it is a group B supplement within the that division by Australian Institute of Sport, that means that if they are not, you don't take that supplements. And then did you discuss that with your sport dietitian, doctor, or coach, etc., etc.? Then, if you didn't, don't take that supplements. Have you discussed integration of the supplement into your overall health, performance, nutrition plan with your sport dietitian? Do you have specific protocol to use? And it's important that, as I said, that you understand why you're doing something. What are your goals? Is it appropriate to use it, and to have more information in order to use it? Is the supplement third-party batch tested? Does the batch test number appear on the Sport Integrity Australian Institute of Sport? As you could see here, third-party batch tested supplements help to moderate risk. Then you are a little bit more sure that potentially your supplement is not in a problem. Have you taken a photo of the supplement, uploaded to which you bought? Have you recorded all supplement detail, including batch number? Not recording supplement could be potentially a problem tomorrow when you need to prove that you do every precaution, because of that famous strict liability to prevent that potentially prohibited substance is in your body. And finally, do you understand the principle of strict liability as it relates to anti-doping regulation? And that is something which we discussed, and unfortunately that is not fair, but it's reality. Supplement used for performance benefits. Here is a complete analysis. I mean, you could see it later, but I mean, in general, what is important to understand: should I use that supplement? And then evidence base: is it safe? Is it prohibited? Then you could use in trial to see is it working or not, and then finally continue to use that supplement. So somehow you need to be sure that you really need that supplement, and that supplement is working. That is International Olympic Committee consensus statement done in order to support athletes with decision to take certain supplement. Critical label analysis. You should always be sure that all the ingredients are listed. To be sure about proprietary blends. To have clear manufacturer identification. Just imagine, for example, that we have here in Serbia fake production, which is done in the kitchen of some local dealers, and they put Indian company, pharmaceutical company, but they didn't put a proper address. And it's very easy just to check, for example, the company address on a Google map. Is there any building? And I checked that, and then I found that that is not even a city. That is just a land without any houses. So somehow that is that is also a possibility to check existence of certain manufacturing companies, especially if they are coming from Asia. And of course, the supplements should have batch and lot number, expiry date, etc., etc. You need to understand all those things in order to protect yourself. Not only protect because of prohibited substances, but to protect yourself, not to use something which is dangerous, which could have potentially side effects and harm your health and your body. Key take-home messages are supplements are never risk-free. I think that now you understand better. I hope that you already know that, but I think that now it's more clear. Legality does not equal safety, and in many countries that is like that. It's not good, but that is the reality. High risk categories require heightened caution or avoidance. You should be somehow in position to understand, this is too risky. Maybe I don't need that. Maybe I need this because this is not risky at all. I mean, again, if I need amino acids, if I'm taking whey protein with multi-component substances inside, like some companies are selling, I mean, that could be potentially trap. If I need amino acids, I will take just whey protein. I will take isolate, and which is not even where there is no even casein and lactose. So somehow I will be more sure from that point. It is necessary that you understand prohibited list and to understand the reason behind that. You should be cautious regarding verification tool. You should use different kind of tools, but you should be aware that that is not 100% safe, and you need to take other things and combine when you're making decision. Kind of a protocol is important. Okay, I'm deciding to take some supplement. Okay, I will check what is on the market. I will check evidence base. I will ask my friend. I will ask my doctor. I will check independent verification companies, etc., etc., and then I will decide finally. Because then that is the best fight and approach against misconceptions. And finally, that food first choice is, but not food only, is something which is important. I mean, on a daily basis, we heard from different experts that food is enough. But in majority of the cases, when we are speaking about athletic results, that is not the truth. Because I mean, in recovery period, in period of great exhaustion, and in period of traveling, and period of intensive competition, trainings, etc., you need to be supported by certain supplements. And I like to say what Marija like to say in general, that if supplements cannot be clearly justified, transparently evaluated, independently verified, it should not be used. That is something which is our message. So somehow try to be on a safe side, and then you would not have a problem. That will be all. And now Marija and me could answer on any of your question if you have it.
Hi, I got a question. I'll just jump right in. My name's Bernard. I'm a new freediving instructor. I was told that pineapples are like the magic fruit for sinus and keeping the sinus inflammation down so we can equalize better. And the bromelain was the factor for that. Do you have any information that you can speak to that claim? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. One apple a day keeps doctor away. I mean, that is so easy. I mean, but I'm not sure that there is effect on sinuses. So at least I could check, and then I don't know. Do I have all the emails of all participants, and then we could answer to you. I mean, that is the usual way how we are dealing with some questions which we don't know by immediately to answer.
Yeah, I looked up online, like you said during the lecture, the PubMed, and it had some things that use language which is a little bit out of my pay grade, but it made some links towards some mucus like a reduction, and I just wanted to know your opinion later on. If you could get back to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, but I could ask office. I don't know. Do we have any, or just send us your email on Antidoping AIDA International, and we will do our best to find a solution for that.
I have a question. Any of the main supplements that were talked about, like creatine, beta-alanine, and magnesium, are there any of these that you can that are verified that you can say this brand is safe or this brand has been taken by many athletes that we've been doing a doping test, and we can verify as much as we can that these are safe or safer?
I mean, I can reply because I'm answering to those questions very frequently. How to say, it's between some athletes who are using and who are advising each other. They know about some brand that they have a good experience, and then they use frequently. Otherwise, usually I'm saying don't spend a lot of money only because the supplement is expensive. It doesn't mean that it is the better quality. There is only brand marks that athletes are using frequently, and then after so many times there was never doping positive, and so on. Probably the one that depends where you live, of course, USA or Europe, and they are different. Maybe good advice is there is some. Like Nenad said, there is websites where you can find some of the supplements and benches that are tested. Usually, those brands are the ones that are having the regularity of testing, and then you can take them. I cannot say now by name, but biotech, something similar. So it's not. There is no 100. Nothing is unfortunately 100% sure that you can say this is the best.
No, in addition to that, I mean, you just ask for certain supplements which are monocomponent supplements, and usually there is no actually contamination in that. I mean, if you buy creatine is creatine monohydrate, and then
Okay,
you don't have
makes sense.
You don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that because nobody is contaminated that, and it's very easy supplement. Especially now, there is a huge how to say number of different chewable creatine, because creatine could really help you. I mean, like Marija said, I mean, in apnea you are using you are not using oxygen, and creatine is producing that anaerobic energy, which could be potentially very important, at least for your brain activity. And your brain activity is in danger because you need energy for when you are thinking. And alternative source of energy could be creatine, because creatine is giving one phosphate to adenosine D-phosphate and making adenosine 3-phosphate. So somehow, just to shortly to answer all those things which you ask, is practically never contaminated. Of course, there is always case like IGA swiatek. I mean, that is a monocomponent melatonin which is contaminated, but that is done by some unresponsible company.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Michaela, I see the hand.
Hello. I want to know if there is some advice about a vegan diet, it's more important to take creatinine or beta-alanine or some other integration.
I will leave Maria for that. I mean, that is easier for her to answer.
Do you mean how we choose through the diet?
Yeah, if some component is important to take because, for example, creatinine is really low in vegan diet.
Aha, okay, yeah. Now I understand. Yes, you can, of course, who doesn't want or like to take through the supplement, they can take this thing through the food. Beta-alanine is also in the meat. Creatine is also in the meat. So the ones who are taking the vegan diet, we didn't speak about that, or maybe that was additional thing. There are some minerals and vitamins that you cannot achieve through the food, so you need to take with the supplement. Mostly it's iron, it's calcium, it's vitamin B12. Those things are missing. But those who are vegans, they're in advantage because through the diet they will probably take a lot of antioxidant, which is described in the papers. From the things I said, they will have more carbohydrates because they shift diet to that. And the other things that I give as example, not so easy through the diet. You need caffeine. Yeah, maybe caffeine, of course, is the one that you can also take through the, if you don't want to take the pills, you can take through the coffee drinks or even, but energy drink is not advice for you, but you can take it also through the coffee drinks. So there is alternatives with the diet. And if somebody is not in favor of taking the supplements. And for those who are vegans, I would say they need to take supplements that will for sure miss because they are not eating the meat.
Thank you.
Depends in country where you live. Now they have the nice combination in one tablet. So they put iron, they put B12, they put folic acid, all in one. So the vegans can take, and it's marked as a vegan supplement.
And I suppose that you are already doing that.
I hope you do, because if you're not drinking, there is no other way to enter these vitamins and minerals.
As I said, if you don't have questions, we will be in Budapest and we will be on Cyprus. We will come with Tanita scale. We will do the measurements and we will discuss certain things, because somehow we like those urban stories of free diving, and maybe it's good to discuss. We like to speak about that. What are the energy sources important for you and how you could do it, etc., etc. So somehow maybe we will, or maybe you will convince us that some of your approach and method is good. But in general, this is the general approach, basic approach to nutrition and supplementation, and more than general approach to way how to choose supplements without making a problem to you. And that is something which was important for us that you understand, since there are so many different questions which we are getting from time to time. Okay, if there is no question, you will have, I think so. I don't know. Is there any list of your emails? Because I will try to get from office of AIDA, and then we could share with you some additional information, including this video.
Yeah, probably we have, or Mohammed has it.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much for your patience, for your time, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You provided
Thank
some
you.
great guidelines. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
That list is a bit tricky to understand, you know, to know which of the like supplement is forbidden and which not is a bit complicated to understand.
Yes, Anna, and then we are here, and luckily you have us, and you could just send one email to us, and we will help you regarding how to say to advise you is that supplement is prohibited or not. Decision is it necessary to take some supplements or not is a little bit more complicated because it's connected with reason. And I mean, you should have a reason. As I said, you need to know that you have lack of substance in order to take some substance. You need to know that you have how to say a problem with recovery. Then you are taking something for recovery. You need to know that you have problem with the energy. Then you are taking something from the energy. And that is the way that is the area in which you are how to say thinking. I mean, it's not just I will take something because others are taking the same. So somehow we are open to discuss with each of you, especially to advise you, is it prohibited or not?
Thank you so much for all the information. I just end up my specialization in that field of knowledge. I'm a doctor also, so yeah, for me, so it was super interesting this meet. And thank you so much for all the information. And I'm trying my best English because I'm from Colombia and I don't
Colombia,
practice so
yes,
much
yes, we
my
like
English
it.
here, you know, because
Yeah, we like it so
it's
much.
Spanish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
a shame that we are not speaking Spanish. I said so many times that it's not normal because that
yeah,
is
it's not that kind of normal. And I know English, but I don't practice so often. So yeah,
no, but
thank you
Anna,
so much for the information.
you could join us, Anna, and I mean we could work together. Especially you're a medical doctor and you're a free diver, I suppose so.
Yeah. I'm a free
So
diver also.
we have a perfect person. You're coming to Budapest or Cyprus this year?
I don't know yet because more of my budget, but I want like to go for depth because I'm training depth right now. So yeah, that's kind of my goal. But I will see if I can do it. But I wish I could.
But
I could.
maybe we are coming to Cala and play the game conference. That is a sport ethical conference in Colombia. So who knows? Maybe we'll meet there.
Maybe yes.
Maybe, yes.
Thank you so much for your kind words for me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I mean, we like you. Definitely from the beginning, in spite we
Thank you
didn't meet
for
yet.
your invitation
Yeah,
also.
yeah, no problem at all. Is there any other question?
And
You are not speaking. Your microphone is muted.
sorry. This is me. Hi, hello. I wanted
Hello.
to
Yeah.
know me also. Today I'm like a bit sleepy because today so it's my rest day from death. So I'm kind of tired also. So yeah, I wanted to say hi.
Take some creatine, please.
I'm taking it.
Okay. Is there any other question?
I have one. So about like regular common vitamin supplements like vitamin C or a multivitamin, how often are they contaminated or how probably it is?
Thank you.
It's very difficult to tell you. As I showed you, from which country you are?
From Hungary.
Yeah, in Hungary, you have one of the many producers of dietary supplements. Actually, we have even a Serbian company, Spansport, which is producing something in Hungary because the law is a little bit relaxed. So somehow, I mean, it's very difficult to say that because nobody is checking actually that. And because of that, you should somehow double check when you're buying something. And as I said, our advice is if you are buying something, that you need to buy something which you are missing. Since you are in Hungary, usually you don't have problem, for example, with vitamin B because you have in your food. If you are eating raw vegetables and fruits, you don't have problem with vitamin C, but you could have definitely problem with vitamin D. And then maybe if you are vegan, you could have probably problem with vitamin B12. And then you could check that. Luckily in Hungary, like in Serbia, you could check that in laboratory. I mean, when you're doing just a regular blood count, you could say, okay, please do for me vitamins. And then they could do B12, folic acids, vitamin D, B6, etc., etc. And then you could see, do you have enough or not? Our best advice is that you are taking just something which you are missing, not everything. And multivitamins is good for people are not sure what they are missing and they are taking everything. And then they said, okay, probably we have now everything what we need. But in general, they don't need everything. And usually that is a kind of polypharmacy.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Again, you could come to us if there is any problem, and if we know we could advise you. You could use AIDA anti-doping mail, and then we will give you answer. As I said, mainly the same day actually, definitely on the second day.
Okay, thank you.
What I could tell you, since you are in Hungary, we will come with a bioimpedance scale on the world competition there. We will measure you. We will probably do something more. We are not sure what else we will measure in order that you understand your body composition, in order to understand some facts which Marija explained. And I mean, we will continue this conversation because for us, it's somehow important that we understand your way of thinking because usually we are getting some kind of but strange questions which are connected with your believing, which actually doesn't have physiological proof. And for that reason, we organize this webinar.